2 games old.
Welcome to the Courtside Coffee Podcast, your spot for highly caffeinated tennis conversation. I'm your host, Merlisa, and today I'll tackle a hot-button issue that's been brewing in sports for quite some time. It's taking PEDs and whether it's worth the risk. Professional tennis is a highly competitive and demanding sport where the margin between victory and defeat is razor thin. The margin between the top players and those who kind of hang around outside the top 200 is also very thin. The pressure to perform at the highest level consistently is immense, and some players might think, hey, I'll take a shortcut. I'll take PEDs, performance-enhancing drugs. So let's explore why this might become the case and ask, is it worth the risk? First, tennis offers enormous financial incentives. Winning a Grand Slam can net a player millions of dollars in prize money, not to mention lucrative sponsorship deals. Look at UK's Emma Raducanu. A Grand Slam title can take you from obscurity to generational wealth in one tournament. Even a slight improvement in performance can lead to significant financial rewards. This creates a powerful incentive for players to do whatever it takes to stay at the top, including taking PEDs. Second, the physical and mental demands of the sport are relentless. Players are expected to compete in multiple tournaments throughout the year, often battling injuries. So PEDs can help accelerate healing. It can help them train harder and maintain peak performance over extended period of times. For some, the benefits of enhanced endurance, strength, and recovery outweighs the risk. To be honest, in tennis, the risks just aren't that high. Let's consider the case of Maria Sharapova. In 2016, Sharapova tested positive for meldonium, a drug she claimed she had been using for her health reasons for over a decade. Sharapova was handed a 2-year ban, later reduced to 15 months on appeal. Sharapova's suspension should have had significant implications for her career and reputation, but she was able to return to the sport and continue competing at a high level. The financial loss she suffered was considerable, but kind of a drop in the bucket to the millions she had made over the years. So this raises the question, was the punishment a real deterrent? Sharapova was never truly shunned by the tennis community. She's still celebrated as an all-time great, despite admitting to taking that drug most of her career. Even though the drug wasn't banned the whole time, she pretty much said, hey, I've been taking this my entire career. When she's eligible for the International Tennis Hall of Fame, she's going to waltz right in. No questions asked. So I'd say doing drugs was a net gain for Maria. Then we have the case of Simona Halep. In October 2022, Halep was provisionally suspended after testing positive for an anti-anemia drug that can enhance endurance. Halep has strongly denied knowingly taking any banned substances. Like Sharapova, Halep had her ban reduced. The argument here is not about Halep's guilt or innocence, but rather about the systemic issue. If top-tier athletes who have access to the best medical advice and resources can still end up in doping scandals, it suggests that there's the deterrent effect of the current punishments probably isn't sufficient enough. Halep does not have to return any trophies or prize money. She, too, will waltz right into the Tennis Hall of Fame. Imagine how differently we talk about Jo-Wilfried Tsonga, Tomas Berdych, or Agnieszka Radwanska if they had a couple of Grand Slam titles. If they knew they could keep their titles, money, and fame, maybe they would have done drugs. I'm not advocating for drug use. I'm just saying the way tennis handles drug punishment and the way they handle people who do drugs, I don't see where it is a deterrent. If you're going to still be celebrated after you've been banned, if everybody's going to give you a pass, if they're never going to bring up those questions in press conferences after you return, then why wouldn't you take a chance on drugs? Even with a suspension, many players can come back and continue earning at a high level. Do people remember that Marin Cilic was banned for using drugs in 2013? Probably not. But what they do remember is that he won the U.S. Open in 2014. And he has that with him for the rest of his life. Grand Slam champion. The stigma of doping scandals, while damaging, is not always career-ending. Heck, this year at the French Open, Sara Errani, she played in the doubles finals with Jasmine Paolini. Nobody was talking about Errani's suspension, which she claimed she ingested something. It was her mom's cancer drug, had made its way into her food. She actually got an increase ban when she tried to appeal her sentence. But nobody's talking about that. They showed her on the sideline. Oh, it's wonderful. She's supporting her teammate. But no one talks about her drug use. Now let's look at baseball. Barry Bonds never tested positive for PEDs while he was playing. But his ties to a doping scandal have left him, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, A-Rod, Roger Clemens, all out of the Hall of Fame. These are all-time great baseball players who might have made it to the Hall of Fame even without using PEDs, but just being linked to PEDs has sullied their legacy for life. That's a deterrent. That's a deterrent in baseball. If tennis is serious about keeping drugs out of the game, the tennis community needs to treat cheaters like they cheated the game. Because they have. They took a risk and it paid off. And tennis is not making them pay for cheating. So what can be done to strengthen the fight against doping in tennis? Firstly, the penalties need to be more stringent. Longer bans and more severe financial penalties could act as a stronger deterrent. Secondly, there needs to be more emphasis on education, ensuring that players fully understand the risk of doping. Also, improving testing methods so we don't have so many disputed claims, and doing a better job with the media, explaining to fans, why it is the person tested positive. They allow players to go out and proclaim their innocence. I remember writing a story for Bleacher Report on Sharapova, who said she took full responsibility for her drug use and that it was a mistake. But they didn't. They posted the report, but they didn't do a good job of letting people know, hey, they asked her for packaging. Her and her father could not produce packaging of a drug she says she was taking for 10 years. I can find old prescriptions and stuff for drugs that I don't take regularly, something that was prescribed by a doctor 3 years ago. But she couldn't even produce this. The drug was banned in the U.S., but she was allowed to go out there, proclaim her innocence, and keep all of her fandom. She lost some endorsements, but all of that came back this year. She's on the red carpet again at the Met Gala. Again, she's totally been accepted into the tennis community. Probably worth it. Considering the money she made over her career, I'd say doping was worth it. So as fans, it's crucial to support clean athletes and advocate for fair play. The integrity of tennis depends on the collective effort of players, governing bodies, and supporters to uphold principles of fair competition. That's a wrap. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Courtside Coffee. As usual, I'd love to hear your feedback. Stay tuned for more episodes where we explore tennis-related issues that shape the sport we love. Until next time, stay caffeinated and keep on brewing.